Hello friends. Welcome to my kitchen. Tonight, I'm not just making pasta. I'm recounting a story. A story that was told to me by a man I barely recognized anymore. It's about a place he found, or perhaps, a place that found him. He called it, Osteria della Luna Piena. The Tavern of the Full Moon. My friend, Leo, was a traveler, a seeker of the authentic. He despised tourist traps. He wanted the places only the locals knew, the recipes passed down through generations, untouched by time or trend. He was in a small, rain-slicked city in northern Italy, a place of winding alleys that felt more like stone veins than streets. He was lost, his phone dead, the cold seeping into his bones. That's when he saw the light. It was a faint, golden glow spilling from a basement-level doorway, tucked between a shuttered butcher shop and a boarded-up old cinema. There was no grand sign, just a simple, hand-painted wooden plaque next to the steps leading down, Osteria della Luna Piena. Below it, in smaller, fainter letters, solo per gli affamati veri. Only for the truly hungry. It was well past midnight. The city was silent. But from that doorway, Leo caught a scent that made his stomach clench with a need that was more than hunger. It was the aroma of garlic toasted in rich olive oil, of San Marzano tomatoes simmered for hours, of fresh basil and a deep, earthy fragrance he couldn't place. It was intoxicating. He descended the worn stone steps and pushed the heavy, oak door open. The inside was small, maybe 5 tables, all empty. The air was hazy with steam and the warmth of the kitchen. The walls were of faded ochre, decorated with faded frescoes of grapevines that, if you looked too long, seemed to twist into shapes that were less botanical. A single, elderly man stood behind a small counter, rolling out pasta dough with a rhythmic, practiced grace. He didn't look up. "Siediti," he said, his voice like gravel. "Sit." Leo took a seat at a table near the back. There was no menu. After a moment, the old man emerged from behind the counter, his movements fluid and silent. He placed a single, empty ceramic bowl in front of Leo, along with a worn, wooden spoon. "You are hungry," the old man said, not a question, but a statement. "Yes," Leo replied. "What are you serving?" "Pappardelle al cinghiale," the man said. "Pappardelle with wild boar ragu. It is what we serve. It is all we serve." He returned to the kitchen, and soon the sound of fresh, wide ribbons of pappardelle being dropped into boiling water filled the small space. Leo waited, his mouth watering. He noticed something strange. The other tables, though empty, were all set. Each had a bowl, a spoon, and a single, unlit candle in the center. The old man returned with a small copper pot. He ladled the pasta into Leo's bowl. The pappardelle was a perfect golden yellow, the ragu a deep, dark crimson, studded with shreds of the boar meat. It smelled ancient. Profound. "Eat," the old man commanded. "And do not stop until the bowl is clean." Leo took his first bite. He told me it was the most sublime thing he had ever tasted. It wasn't just food. It was a memory. It tasted of autumn forests, of cold mountain air, of a primal satisfaction he didn't know he possessed. It was rich, gamey, deeply savory, with an undertone of red wine and a hint of juniper. He ate ravenously, as if possessed. He forgot where he was. He forgot who he was. There was only the pasta. He was halfway through the bowl when he heard the bell above the door jingle. He looked up. A man stumbled in, shaking the rain from his coat. He looked haggard, desperate. He sat at a table near the door. The old cook placed a bowl in front of him, the same instruction given: eat. Do not stop. The new man began to eat with the same frantic energy Leo had felt. But as Leo watched, still working on his own meal, he saw something that made his blood run cold. The man at the other table, he wasn't just eating. He was dissolving. It was subtle at first. A transparency in his hand as he lifted the spoon. A faintness to his outline. With each mouthful, he became less substantial, more like a ghost, a memory of a person. By the time he was scraping the last bits of sauce from his bowl, he was barely visible, a shimmer in the air, like heat haze over asphalt. And then, with a final, silent exhalation, he was gone. The bowl was empty. The spoon clattered softly onto the table. Leo froze, a forkful of pasta halfway to his mouth. He looked down at his own bowl. He was more than halfway done. The old cook was standing by the kitchen door, watching him. His expression was unreadable. "You are not yet finished," the old man said. What was that?" Leo stammered, his voice a whisper. "Where did he go?" "He was truly hungry," the cook replied, his dark eyes holding Leo's. "He was hungry for an end. For peace. For oblivion. This," he gestured to the empty pot, "is the only thing that can truly satisfy such a hunger. You, however, you are merely hungry for a story. A taste. You are not ready to finish the meal." Terror, cold and sharp, pierced through the culinary bliss. Leo looked at the pasta in his bowl. The rich, dark sauce now looked like clotting blood. The tender meat felt foreign and dangerous on his tongue. "The rule is simple," the old man continued, his voice low. "If you finish the meal, you find your peace. You become part of the ragout, a flavor in the next patron's bowl. A memory that sustains another. If you do not finish, you may leave. But you will always be hungry. And you will always remember the taste." Leo pushed the bowl away. The few remaining strands of pappardelle were slick and dark in the bottom. I can't," he whispered. The old cook nodded, a flicker of what might have been disappointment in his eyes. He walked over, picked up Leo's bowl, and looked into it. "You have eaten enough to remember. Enough to yearn. That is your curse now." He pointed to the door. "Go." Leo scrambled out of his chair, his legs weak. He didn't look back as he fled up the stone steps and into the cold, cleansing rain. He spent the rest of the night walking, trying to outpace the memory of that taste. He told me this story a week later, over a cup of coffee he didn't touch. He had lost weight. His eyes had a hollow, haunted look. "I can't eat anything else," he confessed to me, his hands shaking. "Everything tastes like ash. Like nothing. But that pasta. I dream about it. I wake up and I can still smell it. I'm so hungry, but only for that." He looked at me, his eyes pleading, as if I had an answer. He said I wasn't truly hungry. What does that even mean? I'm starving. But I'm too scared to go back. Because if I go back, and I finish it. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. That was the last time I saw Leo. He disappeared a few days later. Some say he went back to Italy. Some say he just wandered off, driven mad by a hunger nothing in this world could satisfy. I think about him often. Especially on nights like tonight. Because I'm making pappardelle al cinghiale. I've spent months perfecting the recipe. Sourcing the wild boar. Simmering the sauce for exactly 8 hours. Rolling the pasta by hand. It's almost perfect. It smells profound. But it's never quite right. There's a depth, an essence I can't seem to replicate. A secret ingredient I'm missing. Sometimes, when the wind is right and the moon is full, I think I can almost taste it. And I understand what Leo meant. It's a hunger that lives in your soul. So I keep trying. I keep cooking. And I keep my ear to the ground, listening for rumors of a small, basement-level osteria that only opens from midnight until 3. A place for the truly hungry. Maybe one day, I'll find it. Or maybe, it will find me. Until then. I'll just be here. In my kitchen. Cooking. And waiting.